Welcome to the next video in the Pandas series. In the last video, we looked at columns. In this video, we are going to look at, so let's get started. I'm working with a smaller data set. This file is available in the description below, and this is called Iris Mini. The change that we have done is we have set ID, and IDs are actually labeled IDs, A, B, C, D, not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and all. Whenever you want to select rows, you are going to look at the locations. What do I mean by that? df.loc. This is how you are going to select the rows. Now there is df.loc and there is df.iloc. What is the difference in these two? Loc works with location which are labeled. For example, if our ID is A, then if we pass A, we will get the first row. See? 5.1, 3.5 and all that. We got the first row returned. But on the other hand, iloc, I stands for integer. Iloc will rely on indexes which are integer based. Even if it is labeled A, if you want to select this row, you will have to pass a 0 because the integer indexing is 0. Of course, there is column 2. If you want to select column 2, then the index will be 1. Now, what if you want to select more than one rows? Okay. What we can do is instead of this integer, we can pass a list. Let's create a list. Let's say that I want row number 0, 1 and 2. These are the 3 rows I want to select. And this list, if I send to iloc, we can get 0, 1 and 2, which happen to be ID with A, B, C. Now, by the way, there is another trick to it. Remember, there is range. If I want to create this range, then I'll have to go 0 and 1 level beyond my last element. My range is actually going to be 0, 1 and 2. Similarly, what we can do is, now see exactly what I'm doing. Let me first move it. So get rid of the initial ones. Instead of this, I can use something like this. This is very similar to using range, but now using this syntax, you can select exactly the same rows. ABC, ABC. Here we used 0, 1, 2 explicitly, all ranges. And here we just said 0 to 3. 3 is skipped, 0, 1 and 2 is returned. Now, of course, like if you just want, you can use something like this. And in fact, if you remove the last one as well, then you get everything, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, everything. This is important concept. I want you to focus here and learn it again. I'm going to repeat it because this is very, very important. 0 to 3, let's say, will return 0, 1 and 2. Now the first one I can always ignore. I don't have to write the first one. 0 or the end of the row, I don't need to write it. This is how I can make it short and I can get rid of it, and this colon alone will bring everything. Now this is important because iloc needs rows or rows and columns. It cannot work alone on columns. What we can do is we can just write one empty column, put a comma, that is my row part. Row part is taken care of. Now for columns, I can specify the next ones. Of course, like if I just put a column again, the result is same, all rows and all columns. But here I can choose to say that I want first row. Yeah, let's say only first column. That's it. Please make sure that you are understanding this very carefully. This is very important. Rewind if you want to. Now let's say that I want to select only this particular block. Then how do I do it? It's very simple. I know that this is my row number 3. 0, 1, 2. Indexing is going to be 2. I want 3. I will put here 2 to 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be skipped. I will get that. And 0, 2 is my columns. I will get exactly that. Oops. So 2 to 4. And this is what I got. Make sure that you understand this because this is something which you will be using a lot, and this is actually slicing. We have shortcut to create slices, and in fact You can get rid of 0 as well. You get the same result like that. Let's talk about copying rows. First of all, let's select a row and then create a copy of it. So I'm going to select df.loc. You can use loc or iloc, does not matter actually. Depends on how you want to select. I want to create something specific. That's why I'm selecting like that. Now what I can do is I can actually use something like this. G currently it does not exist. This is a small data set and it does not contain G. But what I can do is I can create G something like this and create actually essentially a copy. And this is immediate in memory. And as you can see that G is created. Now, if I look at the type of this one row, what do we have? Series. Pandas is very interesting actually. Whether you look at one column or whether you look at one row, this is series. This is a series and this is a series. A column is a series, a row is a series, which means that a series can easily be converted to a list, just like that. We have a, a list which is actually containing all these value, which means that if you create a list and assign it, let's create a list, but the number of the elements should match. So I'm just going to put 1 1 1 1 and the last one is test. If I create something like this and look at the column, see, now we have this added like that. Very easy. Now let's drop all this test data. How do we drop? df.drop. And what do I want to drop? I want to drop this H. Now, if you remember, when we were dropping columns, we had to specify the axis as well. Axis was defined as 1 when we were dropping columns. If it is rows, we can just do 0, just like that. And you can see that H is gone. But if we look at the data frame again, the H is not gone because the answer is very simple, because it was not done in memory. What we have to do, we have to pass one more parameter, which is in place, and this needs to be true. And if we look at df now, H is completely gone. Now, if you want to drop multiple columns, we can of course use list just like that, and we can pass F. This is case sensitive, right? And G. And axis is by default 0. You can skip it if you're feeling adventurous. That's A, B, C, D, E. This was about dropping rows. So this is how we can drop rows. Now there is one more thing. The final thing that I want to talk about is what we did using iloc. We could have done using loc. So df.loc. This can be used for exactly the same thing. So what was it? To see, right? Now this time, because we are using labels, we need to send one list for column and one list for rows in separate orders. First has to be rows. What are the rows? C and D. This is my C and D. And what are the columns that I want? The columns that I want, SL and SW. And these two are going to give you exactly the same output. Here, in case of iloc, you use I for integers, you use integers, and for loc, you use labels. Whatever is the text, you can use that. And of course, because we are just working with integers, we can just use that range kind of shortcut by using colon. But here we have to use list if you want to select multiple. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.